And now we are going to go into a normal game where my Terran player just has way more of everything. Yeah. It's easy to close out. So probably going to be a more conservative opener here for Soulkey. And it's going to be on Circuit Breaker, one of our big maps.
Yeah. Kind of interesting that he banned Fighting Spirit but kept this map in there. I think it might have something to do with the mineral only as well as the ramp, but we'll talk about that in a second.
All right, we've got Soulkey on the bottom right. We have Light in the upper left. It's going to be cross spots here. And this is going to be kind of cool, especially for unpacking a TVZ. I actually want to get your insight on this, Artosis. And I know we're a little ways away in this game from this happening, but assuming that everything pans out into a normal game, we know that Zerg want to try to eventually get a third base somewhere that's safe and hard to push, right?
Yes.
But in cross spots,
it's a little bit harder.
Where do you want to go as Zerg? I mean, if you're a Terran player, what is actually hard to find? This is something I ask myself a lot when I'm watching TVZs, and I don't really, I don't feel like I'm as much of an expert on this. Is there one main that's more desirable than the other? Do you want to take something else besides a main?
Well, okay, so I'm going to go out on a little tiny bit of a limb.
Okay.
Because in my own games, I've been noticing this one thing about reverse space ramps on Circuit Breaker. I think Soulkey might, here's the thing, it's easier to defend bottom left for him, right? Because he's got that low ground passage that he can go over as well. So he can kind of skirt through and not go through the center of the map. But those specific ramps, this is something I actually need to sit down and check, but I'm fairly certain that on the reverse space ramps, you can't, it's harder to block with lurker eggs to block bio from running up, but I'm not 100% on that, so if anyone has fully tested that, let us know. But
see that question alone is some good insight, because I was thinking more of a distance thing, or
the thing is, you look at it right, and you want to be able to send your units in multiple ways. Like if Soulkey takes top right, then you have to run through the center of the map. If he takes bottom left, you have two paths. You can go through the center, or you can go down, right down to that low base gas and go up and over. So my feeling is that Soulkey will prefer the bottom left because of that, and because otherwise, if he gets in between, if he kills the first drone that goes out and gets in between the top right and Soulkey can't get anything over there, really. You have to go through bio all day, like a 4 or 5 racks plus 1. That's ridiculously hard.
So we see Soulkey's actually doing a much more standard opener here. This is one where it's like you're going to really develop in a... This is just like, if you want to copy builds, guys, this is something you can copy here. Yeah. Looks like Light is also gearing up to take that command center on the low ground. This is something that has been very cheesable in the past, but generally speaking, you have to worry about it, especially not after a game like Game 1.
Yeah, everything looking super duper normal. Now, Light generally likes to go 2 racks play instead of 1 racks into the eBay. We'll see if he keeps
that
up
more
on that
popular
trend.
now? 2 racks instead of racks in eBay?
It's very much a stylistic preference. If you go 1 racks eBay quicker, then you get your +1 attack done a little bit quicker, and you get up to 5 racks quicker. But your academy is slower. So basically, what it comes down to, right, in a situation like this, if you go 2 racks first, you can pressure before mutas.
Okay,
if
so you
go
can make
1
sunks
racks
and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or a ton of lings or something like that. Just you make them spend a little bit of their money so they can't just hatch 9 mutas immediately when the Spire finishes. So, there's no right answer here. They're both great builds.
Okay. So it's really more of a... It's like saying, do you want to go Forge first, or do you want to go Gateway first in a PVZ? And it's like, well, they're both actually good.
Yeah,
so
they both
It depends on what you're trying to do here.
And against Jaedong, he was going 2 racks a lot. Here he's actually going 1. So we should be seeing a super fast eBay here and just big macro play. This could have to do with the positions as well, where you're not going to be able to get across the map as easy with 2 racks. Maybe you prefer to get just a ton of units out as quickly as possible, which if he goes into 5 racks play, which it looks like he will, that'll work well for him.
Okay, so we have the Marines moving out now. Looks like he might have wanted to see if he could spot where an Overlord might be.
He was
sometimes
hunting.
you can try to get the timings out by following the in-game clock and be like, okay, there might be an Overlord right here, depending on a few things. And now there's like a meta where you have players that'll try to play around that by like staggering the Overlord's movement or putting it in a different location.
Well, look where Soulkey left his 2 Overlords.
Yeah.
Like, he left them in the middle because a lot of Zergs will try to get it over to the ledge.
Yeah, and then
Light's not letting that happen.
Yeah. And it's funny, too, because I remember when people really started getting good at this, like a ways back, and it's like, oh, well, this is a whole new crazy game we got to deal with now, you know? So we see Light is going to back up for a little bit here. He tried to do a sweep and see if there's anything else he could take out. We've got the Lings here of Soulkey coming out again to kind of check and confirm that the Marines are where they think they are, especially on a map and cross spots this big. There's like so many different locations you want to watch for. So a lot of times just trying to find the army and then constantly peeking and confirming its location is a way to do it.
Yeah.
Now it's Spire Tech here from Soulkey.
Yeah, and that's what you expect to see. There was a little bit of time where we were seeing a lot of Lurker Tech right away, but not as popular right now.
Yeah, and Shine's not playing today either, so there's that.
Light adding a ton of barracks all at once right now. Probably will be going up to that very powerful 5 racks +1 play. Going for the +1 attack and just a ridiculous amount of Marine Medic. Yeah, there you go. So his production is going to get huge. So
this is where, I mean, this is some real bully play here for the Terran on the map. You're going to have a lot of muscle out here. And the Zerg needs to be very careful because, you know, in TVZ, between Lurkers and Stim Marines, there's really no matchup where damage gets and wins go up exponentially. Once you start to win a fight with the Marines or with the Lurkers, you start to win even harder in the next few volleys that are shot at on either side. And when you have got a player like Light who has this much and is very good at controlling Medic Marine in the middle of the map, you got to be very, very careful because if he wins 1 or 2 fights, he's probably going to come through and win the game.
Yeah, that's very true. If there's an actual engage that Soulkey loses, as long as you hit your macro here as Light, and he will because he's really good at this type of play, you're just going to have so many Marines and Medics that you can kind of overwhelm anything Zerg can do at that point on 2 bases. So the Muta's starting to fly out. Now this is where the fun begins. Probably Soulkey is going to dog this army a bit, but Light will continually reinforce. Now, if Soulkey goes a counterattack route, then this is what Light does. Look, he's pushing. He knows the Muta should be here. There they are. Dogging the army a bit. Looking for reinforcements.
Now, this is tricky, right? These medics don't have endless energy, and when you stim Marines, I mean, that's a lot that it takes away right then and there. Now, he's going to come in here for some pokes. Now, this number of turrets, he can still try to get a few shots off, but he can't stay there for that much longer. That allows Light to then move across the map and get a little bit closer. Now, you can beat Marine Medic with Ling Muta. It's not like there's one that counters the other. It sort of depends on how the 2 armies engage each other. So it's not exactly a game of cat and mouse. It's more like you're watching 2 boxers around each other trying to, you know, get a feel for the distance and see who can take a jab and actually get a hit.
Oh, absolutely, and that's what we see from Light here. Like, notice the Muta's hit his natural. He moved closer to Soulkey's natural. Then he was waiting. The Mutas didn't hit his base again. He turned around and walked back a little bit. Eventually, he'll have to reinforce, or the Ling Muta will kill him. And look, Soulkey's getting ready for that right now.
Okay, these Lings are coming up. Now, the control here has been really good for Soulkey. Looks like he is targeting down some of these Mutas. One does go down there at the end. But the follow-up with these Marines then meets up. That was actually a lot more complicated than it looked.
Yeah.
But the fact that he kept that army, the Mutas and the Lings wedged in between that, and then had the next wave of Lings come up and connect was a good play.
Yes, and the thing is, you saw Light feeling that this was about to happen, which is why he turned around. He's like, oh, wait, if the Mutas aren't harassing you actively, you can't keep moving out because you don't know where they are. You have to go back. You have to reinforce. And if you never get a group surrounded, like we just saw that group surrounded, he lost a bunch of units. His army overall is a little bit weaker right now. That's a small win for Soulkey.
Yeah.
But if he never lets that happen, he will get so much that eventually the Ling Muta won't do anything. You know, you will eventually have enough Marines and Medics that just the surface area isn't big enough and you kill everything.
So we see, again, another wave moving out here. Now, we want to point out that Soulkey is trying to take the upper right. We don't see any Lurkers or Lurker eggs just yet. And so Soulkey's going to try to gear up for a counterattack, saying you probably don't have enough. Now, the placement of this depot is so important to make it harder for these Lings to have a surround, but it looks like they are going to get that. And wow, look at this. This forces Light to turn around with a good chunk of his army.
Yeah, the SCVs have to fight here. He's got to pop out as many Marines as possible. He turned around some units and sent some units on. This is about as good as Light could have done here because he's going to be able to force a cancel. Yeah, the cancel already occurred at the top right. That's important, but his starports are way slowed down here. He loses a bunch of SCVs. He loses a bunch of Marines and a bunch of Marines that were popping out of those racks as well. Like, his supply is nowhere near it would have been if he played perfect, but you don't play perfect Brood War. Nobody does.
Yeah, it looks like Soulkey's going to try to send more Lings up here, but there's definitely enough here for Light to actually hold everything else off. Now, again, Zerg does not have a third base. Zerg, the longer a ZVT goes and the Zerg does not have a third base, the worse this is for the Zerg. Even though Terran's been getting whooped there on the middle of the map and losing SCVs, Terran can kind of sustain on this.
Yeah.
And it seems to me that Soulkey's actually going to try to go for the jugular here and just shank him with the lurkers. I think he's actually going to go up to the front and try to push.
I think he's not going to really push. I think he's going to go one time and then back up, but we'll see.
Here we go.
Okay, good micro from Light. He picks off one of the lurkers immediately, backs up, spreads, and I feel, is he going to continue to push?
I think he's going to try to.
That's a little bit crazy.
He's going to edge in, man, because there's no tanks yet. The vessels are delayed.
Yeah, and I mean, he does all right with this. It looks like he wants to continue forward. Where are the rest of Light's units here? He's got to rally down. He's bringing back the units from the top right as well, realizing he needs to cut off some reinforcements. I mean, if you get all the way up this close, it gets really hard for Terran to come down and spread.
You can see the leapfrogging lurkers are getting closer to where the SCVs are, and it gets even crazier than that. If he unbros one and the Marines try to pounce on it, he can always not bro it and run back, and suddenly you're eating a ton of lurker spines. Yeah. He's going to take out the one scanner here.
That's rough.
Wow.
It leaves him with fewer scans. He does an emergency scan at last second. He's not going to be able to utilize that one. But eventually he'll lift this command center probably and go.
Okay, here we go. Coming down here from the bottom. Oh my God, these connects are sick.
That's brutal. He was trying to just snipe that one lurker.
I can't believe this one broad lurker is even still in this position.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Has to lift. Now, the game isn't 100% over, but Soulkey has a big advantage right now.
Here's the problem as well, is now that he's where the spines can connect to the bottom of the ramp, which makes this huge bottleneck where the Marines cannot move out. You will lose everything to 3 lurkers trying to move out there.
Well, you either have to have a siege tank. He doesn't have an add-on, so that's not going to be it. He's made some vessels. I think from here, it's almost like a coin flip for Light. Like, does he want to try to break out with a Radiate? Does he want to try to get drop ships and drop out? I think a Radiate's going to be his choice, but like you said, as long as enough lurkers keep coming up here, Soulkey now on 3 base and hive, it's his game to lose. Look, he makes a bunker there. Oh, if Soulkey's up that far, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I know. By the way, Zerg got that other main up. Yeah. It's in the bottom left. But there are bigger fish to fry this game, Artosis.
Yeah.
These lurkers are going to just keep pushing up here. And the way that the buildings are set up, it's actually a nightmare for Terran. Yeah. It's a bunch of hallways the Marines would have to run down. The lurkers have longer range than the Marines. They're always going to get their shot off first. Here's a medic. Maybe she can optic flare these drones, Artosis. I don't know. What else? What else are you going to do?
Yeah,
this is okay. Now, look, I don't think Terran can recover from this.
No, the odds of recovering from this against any pro Zerg is almost 0, and then it's Soulkey, so it's even worse. Look at this. Soulkey,
he backs up.
Oh, yeah, just back up, wait for Defiler, and then the game is locked. That's it.
Yeah, probably wanted to make sure that he could unburrow safely without them stacking on top of each other, because lurkers do sometimes bug and get stuck on each other, and it's this funny, sticky situation.
And now he's even stacking lurkers on top of each other, so you can't irradiate many of them all at once. See that?
Oh, yeah.
Like, when this happens, you have to irradiate one, wait for it to die, and then irradiate another one.
This
so if he
is so
stacks
cool.
all of them, the amount of time this will
He's
take.
like, I got you. Is that all you have?
Look, and now you can't even click there. You just hold position on top. Of course, it doesn't splash against
so
the underground. Yes.
This is so impressive.
This shows you how ridiculous Soulkey is. Like, if he doesn't 7-pool you, man, you're in trouble. And look at this. He's putting Lings on top, so it's really hard to do anything there. Like, Soulkey's so dirty right now. It's amazing.
It's crazy.
I have so much respect for this type of dirt play here.
Yeah.
It's like, as a Terran player, you look at this, you're like, no, I can't even click. I have all this irradiate. Am I supposed to irradiate a circling? Like, what?
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, it's really, really, really strong. It's like you're abusing every aspect of the game. It's like, let's just make it harder for him to click on me. It's like, well, wait, that's not what the game. It's like, I don't care. Nobody asked me if I care about that.
No.
You're just saying, is it harder to do stuff with a mouse and a cursor? Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I'm also going for that.
Yeah, okay. That's part of my strategy.
That's part of my strategy is to make it harder to use your cursor.
Yeah.
Like, well, that doesn't seem fair in a strategy game about economics and tech trees. And he's like, listen, life's not fair.
Yeah, I know.
Okay?
Don't care.
Do not care. GG!
Mad cuz bad.
Mad cuz bad.
Okay. So Soulkey takes game 2 very well. This game really comes down to primarily the surround on the bio units, right?
Yep.
He saved a couple medics, so it wasn't a total loss. But then the thing is, you lose track, especially once you've lost a group of units. You lose track of exactly where Soulkey's at that point. He moved too many units too far out, and that's what allowed the counterattack. You know, it's tough, man. Like, you gotta be so on top of reinforcing, not getting surrounded. He wanted to pressure that third base, but he got punished big time for it.
Wow, well, Light definitely feeling the wrath of Soulkey in game 2.